A very warm welcome to all of you to Ayurvedic Healing and Beyond podcast. Now, coming to burnout, this has been a constant condition that I treat, and I see a lot of patients suffering with burnout. And usually, many people are not even aware that they are going through burnout. They come with symptoms like I feel tired, I feel no motivation, I don't feel all the thing that I had, all the vitality and the ambition and the drive that I used to have. I don't know where it went. Something may happen to me. And sometimes they get diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome things, but these are not mentioned in certain textbooks. But burnout is officially mentioned as a medical condition. And it's a very newly understood disease compared to certain diseases which has been in humanity for centuries. But burnout has been first diagnosed in the 70s in New York by a doctor. And what they understood is burnout is not just about I am tired of working hard. And actually, you see a lot of people, the more they work, they get more energy. They are never tired. Maybe they are physically tired, but mentally they are always charged. But in burnout, you hear, I worked too hard and I forgot to take care of my health and all of that. They come and talk about it. So there are 6 to few reasons why burnout happens. So let's just understand. I'll give my opinion on what is burnout. And I'll tell you, should they do panchakarma? Should they use Ayurveda for burnout? This is really helpful for them. And if they are not in a position to do Ayurveda or panchakarma because they are not able to travel or they are not in a position to come to India or don't have access to Ayurvedic, what can they do at home? We'll just talk about these. Now, burnout happens when you put a person who is not aligned or who is not able to integrate with the ecosystem. Like for example, if let's say I am a vegan and I have to work in a community where let's say I am a vegan due to ethical reasons. And I am very sensitive to when people use leather or when people eat meat because I have a belief and I have a feeling that because people are eating meat, the climate change is happening, the problems in the climate changes because of that. And this is very harmful and violent to animals. And I have this belief and I believe in this and I am an activist. And suddenly I am, due to circumstantial randomness, I am put in a place where I have to work with a group of people who are meat eaters, who use a lot of leather, or even if I work for a company that is selling meat products. I'm having a strong conflict of my values. And if I am there because I need some financial security and I have no other choice, but I have to force myself. So somewhere I feel I cannot be who I am, but I am selling myself. I am being manipulated just for the sake that I want the security. And if I am with people who don't appreciate me, respect me for who I am, and people are talking behind my back, if I'm having to report to bosses who give undue advantage or promotion to others who are working less than me, but just because they favor the other person, or there are some racial factors contributing to that. And then on top of that, I feel I'm not adequate to face the challenges that are put on me. My skill set is not meeting the challenge. I'm not able to solve the challenges that are put in front of me. Now, these are some of the factors that leads to burnout. But in general, when I see what is the real cause of burnout, the most important thing is conflict of values. Now, when somewhere, let's say they want to be certain things, they are good at numbers, but they are put in something else. Now, I found that myself. When I started Sitaram, I was so obsessed with, such a control freak. I wanted to go and check everything is in place. Like in the beginning, it's a small retreat with 8 to 10 rooms. And at that time, you're training the team and you're building the team. Sometimes the driver will not be there to pick up the patient from the airport. So I have to run. So all the leftover jobs would come to me. And usually the leftover jobs were very high on a day-to-day basis. So sometimes the yoga teacher will not show up in the morning. So now we have like 5 to 6 fantastic yoga teachers. But in the beginning, we used to have a yoga teacher on call. Sometimes they forgot to wake up, and so I have to go and take up the duty of the yoga teacher. And there will be the therapies in the morning where the doctor has to be there, and after the yoga, and I have to be there, and then you have to be there for the consultations, and then sometimes giving the medicines to the required patient. The pharmacist is not there at that time, so I have to make sure that thing has to be done. And then in the evening there are lectures, and there's another yoga class. If the yoga teacher is not there, I would show up there, and by 9 o'clock I am almost a vegetable. Like there was no energy, and I just stay dead. And I continued this for almost 3 to 4, almost for 6 months. I would say 3 to 6 months this continued. And I realized this cannot continue. And what I realized, and in between, you have to do the team meeting, you have to take care of the finances, purchases, everything is done on well, housekeeping has to do well, and are we having the right medicines? So I realized administration is making me very tired. But every time I sit with my consultation with my patient, I loved it. I'm getting more and more energy the more I sit with my patients. And when I do consultations and when I give lectures and giving them awareness of what is Ayurveda, and usually I give talks in Sitaram and the patients are there. And this talk is like a group consultation for me. In one lecture for 45 minutes, it is like giving the consultation for the entire team, entire patient group, to realize what to expect. Why are you going through this? Why you have to do this? Why are we doing this? This sets the standard for what for them to expect, and it aligns every member in that patient group, why and what we are doing. And all these things were things that I totally loved. And even sometimes taking yoga classes, I loved. But when I have to take care of the management of the therapist, management of the housekeeping, or sometimes this is missing and I have to take care of that, I got just tired. But I managed it, I did it quite well, but I was getting tired. So somewhere I was saying my value is I love to teach, I love to heal. These are my top values, and I love to learn. So as a part of consultation, you will get a case and you have to go and check the blood reports, you have to read more about it, and you have to check with some senior doctors, sometimes my father, sometimes I talk to my other teacher, Dr. Bhagavati Ammal, what can we do for this? Those things gave me more and more energy, whereas doing administrative work drained my energy. So what we have to understand is, when you engage your day-to-day activities aligned with your values that are truly inside of you, there's no burnout. So when I say I was working like this for 3 to 6 months and I was nearing burnout, the burnout was not due to my engaging in consultations or taking lectures or doing the job that I am best at. My burnout was I was engaging in problems of managing the human resource, telling them what to do and putting up the systems and checking when if there is a plumbing issue, everybody would say, oh, you need to talk to the doctor because I was the head, I was the chief, so you need to talk to him. So at that time, we didn't have a good system to work. This was like 10 years ago. But at that time, it gave me an opportunity to understand how the systems work, why it's important to have systems, and why it's important to keep the right people in the right place. So whenever I see somebody is frustrated doing, it's just that they are in the wrong place doing the wrong thing. That person could be much better somewhere else. So I could give an example even in my own experience of building the team. So we had this person we were putting this person in charge of the accounting and human resources. So in the beginning, the team was small, so we had to take care of the human resource and the accounting. One person was dealing with that. So while these two were dealing, we saw that many people were having problems when this person was dealing with the human resources. Why? Because this person was very authoritarian and strict and enforcing discipline, and people were not feeling safe when that person is the human resource head. But I saw that this person when people are not disciplined and they don't show up on time and they are not groomed well, it is not healthy for our working ecosystem. I could understand what this person was saying, but somewhere people were not happy. So what I did, I relocated this person to another department where we needed discipline. And then it worked fantastic. And I understood we needed somebody else who loves numbers to be in the accounting place. So before, I had a person who was so much interested in networking, interacting with others, and this person was taking care of the accounting. And that person was, when I tell, okay, what are the numbers? How is it going? That person would struggle to do that. And I shifted that person to take care of the front office or take care of the guest relations. That person is thriving there. And then we found a person who is quite introvert and who loves sitting and doing the job. And things fell in place. So every time you see somebody is having burnout, somewhere they are engaging their time in activities that are not aligned to their true values. So one of the ways to, so usually when they come for an Ayurvedic treatment during the after post diagnosed as burnout, what happens is they get a 2 to 3 weeks of not making any decisions. So one of the most important ways to recover from burnout is you need to go through a period where you don't make any decisions, where you don't have to do activities that you are accountable for. So somewhere, making a decision is a lot of energy. And when you do activities that are not aligned with your values, you are forcing yourself to be somebody else at who you are not. And when you go through that period of no activities that you are accountable for, or where you have to take a lot of decisions, this finally gives a space. Who am I? What are the things that I really love to do? What are the things that when I do more and more of it, I get more and more energy out of it? When I teach, I get more energy. When I consult with my patients, I get more energy. When I read and research on medical aspects, how to treat better, what are this diagnosis, what are the missing links, I get more and more energy. But when you put me in administration, when you put me in managing certain things, I get tired. The same way, everybody, when you ask them, what are the things that you love to do, they get more energy by doing that. And what are the things that tires you out, the more they engage in those activities, that is where burnout comes. And burnout is that involving more where you are having more friction and it burns you out. That wood just burns out because it doesn't have that enough fuel to sustain that. So this is where burnout is happening if you have to look at it. And it is not that the person is lazy. The worst thing you can tell a person diagnosed with burnout is, oh, that person is lazy or it's with the head. No, it's just that person's abilities. It's like, we say the square pegs in the round holes or round pegs in square holes. It's just in the wrong places. And that person needs to look back. What are the things that person really love to do? Maybe change of company, change of working culture, or change of team can help. Or relocating in the same company in a different position. Or sometimes the relationship can impact burnout. When the other person is completely gaslighting and saying that you're not good, you're not that, you're not this, this can also lead to burnout. And what happens at that point of time, striving for to become or to do something that they are not, eventually it reaches a point, they normalize that, and it reaches a point that I'm not able to handle myself, and it takes a toll. It leads to sleep disorders, it leads to lack of motivation, it leads to a huge toll. They would end up having eating disorders, or they would end up having a lot of sleep disorders, they would end up having gut health issues, and overall their hormones take a toll. Now this is where burnout comes. So usually when I get a patient with burnout, I don't recommend intensive panchakarma. What they need is getting them back to routine. So when they come to Sitaram for burnout and they say, I want to do panchakarma, yes, there are maybe 1 or 2 therapies of panchakarma that will help them. And provided their body is in a position to handle those treatments. But most importantly, we put them through yoga nidra, yoga, eating healthy food. I don't put a lot of restrictions for them, because what they need is not restrictions. What they need is more care, more of routine, more of sleeping on time, learning to relax and unlearning to be stressed. That is what burnout people need. And this ability of sleeping on time, waking up on time, not making any decisions, which is good for most of the condition. Many people are borderline burnout or pre-burnout. They are just not realizing it. So, and also, when they didn't take enough time to recover, they need to have active recovery. When they didn't take that enough active recovery, this also leads to that. So when they go through these procedure therapies like Shirodhara, good Abhyanga, good Svedana, therapies where they're able to relax their body and mind. This is more important for a burnout patient than during this intensive panchakarma where we do this intensive purification. We don't do ghee therapy and vamana or virechana for them, because at that point of time what they need is mental clarity and mental peace, and provided a lot of physical relaxation. And at that time, a lot of counseling, I recommend them to read books on what gives them understanding and clarity. And that is a good time to reflect. What are the things I really love to do? What are the things that I hated to do but I was forced to do? And then that's why usually burnout patients, once they do a good panchakarma, and I've seen my own patients' habits, once they quit the job, they change the location, or they enter a completely new domain and they thrive in that. And burnout is a body's way of enforcing things to them that you are wasting your precious resources for wrong reasons, or you're not using your precious resources, and that is also burnout. Because deep inside, every human that you see, we all want to do something really productive and fantastic and creative. It's a part of anything that is created by nature. We all have that deep inside of us. And when burnout is when you go the entire opposite of that. But you think you're going to do something, you're engaging yourself in physical or work attitude, and you're engaging in a culture where you have to work is worship, but you are engaging your activities which are completely non-aligned with your top values and top skills. So that is where this burnout comes. And in fact, you see people who work like 18 hours, 20 hours, they never get burnt out. But burnt out because they are working with their top values. I know some of my professors, teachers, they work for like 18 hours a day and they don't get tired. I mean, they need sleep. You could see that the physical body could slightly, but they love what they do. And even when they are in their 80s with arthritic problems, overweight issues, high blood pressure, somewhere because they are engaging in activities that they are so passionate about, they never lead to burnout. But today what is happening, somewhere their values are being conflicted. Now this is what burnout is. So once you have this, how to know that you're having burnout? You feel mentally tired, you're not able to focus, you're feeling your ambition and drive that you used to have, somewhere it is missing. Sometimes you feel very tired of being tired. This constant thing happens. So once you have this, understand somewhere what is it that I love to do. Somewhere I miss that bus of doing that. And what is it that I'm doing that I don't like? So they have to go back and understand. I have to put my effort on things that I love to do. Now sometimes people say, oh, but I love to do things like, I'm not talking about mindless entertainment. Okay, we all love to maybe waste time in social media or video games. That's not what we all have, somewhere there is a drive for us to do things that are creative in nature. Everybody has that. It is impossible to find someone who doesn't have that. If not, we have to just ask, where is it that? And once we find that, the confidence comes back, energy levels comes back, their hormones get back to nature, and their allergies can also go away. And this is what happens when you find your values. That is why, you have to be your own detective. What are the things that I love to do that makes me energized, that makes me so productive, that makes me so confident about myself? In order to find that, they have to try new things. They have to try new hobbies, not just stick to one particular thing. And they have to read, they have to try experiment, they have to try a new game, try painting, maybe try dancing, maybe try something completely out of your domain. So that is where they are able to open up their mindset that, oh, I didn't know that I'm also good at this. So burnout is also important. It's like somewhere people are stubborn that this is what I'm supposed to do and I will only do this. But you're not happy there. So these are the findings that I found with my experience with burnout. And I always tell, whenever I see a patient with burnout, my counseling ranges with understanding, going through their childhood, what are the things that they love to do and why are you doing this? And if you are doing something because of financial security, yes, you don't have to quit that. Continue doing that. But remember, I'm happy where I'm doing it, and this taught me that this is not where I'm supposed to be. Appreciate that. And parallelly, look for things that you love to do. Look, and universe will find its way to you to do the things that you love to do, and you will be rewarded to that. And that is where burnout is always an indication you're wasting your time in wrong areas. And the more and more you get burnt out, the sooner you have to come out of that.